All right. Thank you guys for coming. This is our Wise Option webinar, August 14th, 2013, 4 o'clock Central Time. And today our webinar is an open session for questions and answers. So if you have your questions, just let us know and we're going to get started. As you can see on your screen, we already have a new version ready for you guys for 3.17, which actually was a version prepared already based on the requests we had in our last webinar. If you guys could let me know if you can hear me well, if my voice is going through just fine. It can be either by just letting me know through the microphone, or if you want to send me a chat message through the control panel for the presentation, that's fine as well. So in our last webinar, we had this discussion about performance, and a few users asked us to review a couple of things in regards to performance in the system. So we did have a list of things we planned to do, and the first one was in the procedure manager. I'm going to be showing you guys later what's new in this one. So it's going to be a nice way to retrieve horses from the list of horses when adding a new procedure, which I am expecting this to be way more efficient. Hopefully it will be way more efficient than the current drop-down list box we have for the horse names in the procedure form. So this session today, it works more towards, tailored questions. There's no per se general presentation over the program. We go for specific questions from our users, and I just see so far there were 3 of you here. One of them seems that lost the connection, which was Nikki, the one with the nice music. But now we have Kristen and Lisa. So if you guys want to just jump ahead and jump in and bring some of the topics or parts in the system that you're not very clear about, we can explore those. So let me know if you would, please. Kristen, can you hear me?
Hey, Eduardo, yeah.
Oh, thank you for coming.
Sorry about that. It took me a minute to figure out. I'm doing this down at home right now. I'm not at work, so trying to get it set up on my laptop.
Not a problem. So how has your experience been with Wise Option so far?
So far, so good. I'm new to using it. Just started in the office. I've used it in the barn more than anything, when we bring in mares to palpate and so forth.
Okay.
So I guess my biggest questions involve billing. I'm still not very comfortable with that. And just basic, any advice you really have or shortcuts. I'm open to pretty much anything.
Okay. In your billing process, do you have it going in a massive way, or you still do one horse at a time?
I think we still do one horse at a time. No, we actually do the massive deal. We go on and we click billing, and before we do it, we go through an entire list of mares and double check all the procedures, but then we just send it out in a mass deal.
Okay. Gotcha. And as far as fixing problems or getting things wrong, has it happened often?
Not really, not that I know of. I've only been through the billing process once,
Okay,
so I don't know a whole lot about it.
okay.
So I don't know if maybe there's a way that we could go through some of this today on this webinar,
Absolutely, absolutely.
and pretty much just as basic as you can make it, please, and
Absolutely.
shortcuts that you know.
Absolutely.
That would help me tremendously.
Let me try to give you kind of a quick overview, and
That'd be
from
great.
there maybe you could come up with a few questions.
Okay.
Wise option. Basically, we have our customers in the system, and then we're going to have our horses, and to our horses we're going to add procedures. So what the system does, it's maintain a list, or let's say we're going to maintain a collection of procedures in the system that we basically divide those procedures that you can see in two categories. Things that have been performed already, here we just give the simple name as done, and when it's not done yet or undone, in this case we also call by reminders. So reminders, usually it's appropriate for future dates, whereas things that have been performed could be done. So this is what you see. So basically we have a horse, which is of course related to a customer, and procedures entered in the system. Every day you just go there and you put your charges, and this is the key for billing per se. This is where the billing starts. Now, in the backstage, there is another information which we do not show here in this form, which is if this procedure has been already built and tied up to an invoice. When you go to the billing process here and you click on the billing procedures, this big method in Wise Option basically is going to grab one horse at a time and go, I don't know if you have noticed, but once you click on this button here, it's going to grab one horse at a time and it's going to say, okay, horse number one, show me the procedures I have in the system. Number one, it's that has been already built. All the procedures that have been built already. It does not build twice. And of course, we just will build things performed. So the two key factors here when this method is running is that it will go after procedures one horse at a time. Number one, make sure that procedure is set as performed so we don't take the chance of billing reminders. Doesn't make sense. And number two, making sure that the procedure or a particular procedure is not yet linked or associated to an invoice. So it's going to grab a horse at a time, a collection of the procedures that fit to that criteria. And then it will create one invoice with those procedures. We'll create a total, create an invoice, and put the charge into the customer account. Things get a little bit more complex when there is a horse with multiple owners, and Wise Option is going to take consideration that as well. But basically what you have to learn here is that in this big process here, it goes one horse at a time, going after procedures set as done and not built yet. It creates an invoice, puts in the customer account, and of course, set those procedures that are now linked to an invoice with a status as built. So next month when you run the program again, it will not grab those procedures, and in that case it's going to ignore them on the second time you run the system. Now, if you go to the customer account, any customer account, you're going to notice that we are going to show the invoices. Let me grab here all invoices. So any invoices that, this is a node test database. So when you double click on an invoice in a customer account, it knows which procedures are connected to that invoice. Once we create an invoice, those procedures are no longer free for any kind of modification, no changes, no updates, and it cannot be removed either. So sometimes you need to grab one invoice or there's something wrong in the system. Trying to maintain consistency and integrity of the records that we show in the customer account. That's why we do not allow you to touch the procedures that are linked to an invoice. Is it possible for me to modify, change, and update anything if an invoice is wrong? Well, the first thing we need to do is to cancel that invoice. When you cancel the invoice, that invoice number no longer will exist. However, WiseOption will not delete the procedures that were billed to that invoice. As far as the procedures, WiseOption will simply set them back as not billed yet and delete the invoice number from the customer account. When you go then to the horse file, you will see that those procedures that were once related to the horse file should now be back as unbilled here in the horse file. And you keep the process like that. You enter procedures, you go to the billing, and WiseOption is going based on those not billed yet, put an entry into the customer account. Should you have or need to make any change in the horse file, fixing procedures already billed, go to the customer account, cancel the invoice, which now makes the procedures free for modification for any kind of change and update. Go to the horse file, change the procedures, adding, updating values, modifying, removing, or adding new stuff. And then you create a new invoice, which in most of the cases they do on an individual basis through the billing button. We like to use the massive process just once a month if possible. So fixing problems and updating invoices are most likely that you're going to do through the billing button. So this is kind of a generic overview about how the system works in this part of the let's say, automation of the billing process. How does that sound so far?
Good, good.
One part that has lots of problems one part that gives us, I would say that 9 out of 10 support I provide on the billing day is related to board. Not because the boarding module has glitches or problems, but most problems are related to that people who forget to check horses in and out. And it's a little bit tricky when you deal with the boarding module. Because the boarding module generates charges for you automatically based on those dates. Now, still related to the billing, but just talking about board, because at the end of the day, like I said, most of the problems are related to the board. What the boarding module does, it's a simple thing. As you can see, we just have here a list of horses. And for each horse, we have a period date, which is actually when the board starts for that horse. This is just an arrival information. This is up to the last time the board was charged. And of course, the rate amount, so we can calculate the board for you. When you are there in the billing module that you hit the charge button, this module is going to one entry at a time in the boarding list do the calculations for you, which works more or less like this. It grabs the horse, see the dates. When you hit the charge button, it's going to ask what is the end period for the board charge that you're doing, so it knows the number of days, and it multiplies by the rate. If it is a monthly, it's going to do it monthly, divide by 30, and then get the daily rate. Or if it is straightforward, a daily rate, it's going to multiply the number of days times the daily rate. But here is one simple thing that happens in the boarding module. The boarding module will simply add a procedure to the horse file, just like as if you had clicked in the procedure button and added a boarding charge manually. This is a very convenient way for you to have your horses, several procedures calculated in a custom way based on which takes in consideration number of days between two dates plus a multiplication that goes based on the rate amount and period. So we leave those, complex calculations or tedious because it's a big repetition, especially with long list of horses here. It will, but at the end of the day, what it's doing is just creating procedures for you. That's a magic that usually users say, now I see what's going on here. Because the boarding list will follow these rules and put procedures in the system. Fair enough, when you go to the billing and you hit on that button to bill procedures, guess what? Those boarding charges are nothing else than procedures entered to each horse, set as done, which amount is calculated based on the rates and dates. So to fix problems in the boarding module, same deal. Just go to the invoice. First thing, you cancel the invoice. And then when you go to the horse file, you're going to see that that procedure that was created by the boarding module is again free for modification. Let's say, for example, that you forgot to check out a horse before using a boarding charge. You can manually fix that procedure. You also can manually fix the boarding list, and I can show you where, so that horse won't get another wrong procedure charge next month. So we should not forget to fix that as well. But once you have fixed the procedure in the horse file, then you go ahead, open the billing button for the horse individually, and bill that horse. To fix the horse in the boarding list, so you make sure that the horse won't have that again happening next billing cycle, you just select the horse. Don't use the checkout, because the checkout button is when you are indeed checking a horse out on a proper and correct date. If you are doing, if you're fixing problems with your billing system, it's better if you would cancel the invoice, fix the procedure in the horse file manually, and once you have done that, instead of checking out, just go to the tools, select first the line, the row in your list view, go to tools, and say delete board entry. Here's the difference. When you delete a board entry, you are going to remove that line from the list of horses in the board without generating a charge. So this is going to remove the horse from the boarding list, and it will not enter a procedure for the horse as you do that. Whereas if you do a checkout instead, you are basically removing the horse from your boarding list. However, one of the things it does in this process is to charge the horse for the number of days. So checkout button if you were checking out the horse in the proper date, but if you're fixing invoice and you simply want to remove the horse out of the list, use the delete board entry instead, which removes the line without adding the charge. Very frequently users go there, cancel the invoice in the customer, go to the horse file, fix manually the procedure, then go to the billing in the horse file still, create a new invoice, but forget to come here. Guess what? Next month it's happening again. Problem number 2, when they remember to come here, they check out instead of deleting the row from the list. And next month, they will see a charge there because of the checkout process. Say, what's going on here? And the checkout process, they simply don't remember that checkout process does have that same, procedures of charge, which will, again, raise big question marks and sometimes drive you crazy, not understanding what's going on. So this is kind of a quick overview about things that have under the hood for WISE option billing and the boarding.
Oh, thank you for the overview. And that's sometimes we do have issues, just like you said, with the boarding, that the horse doesn't get checked out and it's hard to go back and figure out how to get rid of it. So that was perfect. Thank you.
All right, no problem. Another thing that happens is that sometimes users are in the process of printing invoices, and the printer, gets a jam paper and it's a mess, and right here it's right in the middle. Let's say when you have tons of customers and it's on the letter, M or N, and then you have to change the toner, quit the printing process, and it's a big waste of paper if you have to start over. It's right here, and sometimes people just simply ignore the button. Is to click here, and this panel pops up from which users can go ahead and, I could say there are a few options, but let me summarize this form here real quick. Here on top, you say what kind of customers you would like to see in the list view. So for the sake of an easy start, I'm going to say all customers, and I'm going to refresh the list. So here on top, I'm pretty much saying what type of customers I want to see in this list. And here on the bottom, I'm going to say what I want to do with the customers in the list. A couple of things I can do here. I could simply select a few customers and say print the select ones only. I could, let me uncheck all, which clears up all my marks. I could say, let me sort by name, and I had a problem on the letter M, and I will then say print from the start point on. So everything that is beyond this point will be printed out. Or I could say I want only the letters through M through S, and this is going to print between marks, which is a nice option when you have too many customers and you want to do in batches. I have seen farms doing this. I have so many customers and it's so big, the billing, that instead of sending a huge chunk of jobs to the printer, I'm going to do, A through D, and then they clean. And then now on the next round, they could do a separate, just go from E through P and keep going batches. So you make sure that the printer is fine, paper is okay, ink is okay, and a couple of options. If you play a little bit later with this top here, you're going to see that there are different options that you can print out your invoices, and this is going to help you in the process as well.
Unmuted.
How many horses you currently have in your database, Kristen?
Oh, there's quite a few. Probably right now we're kind of slow though. Maybe between 200 and 300.
I mean,
that are currently.
Do you mean
I'm sorry.
active horses or total number of horses?
No, total there's more than that. I'm saying active as of right now, probably between 200 and 300.
Okay. Here's one
And
thing
we run
that-
into the printer problems as well. We'd always just go to the print preview button before we hit print to do the, A through Z customers.
I see.
That way we could go back and see and say we stopped off at letter M. We could go through the print preview deal and see what page we're on, and then, go to the printer mode and select pages 75 and continue. So that's a new way of doing it, and I like that. Another question I have, kind of the procedure manager,
Okay.
as far as selecting only certain tasks to look at or certain mayors to look at.
Okay.
So, like certain locations too. Say we have 5 different pins of mayors, and I want to bring up a list of all my active mayors in pin 4. Can I do that through the procedure manager?
Yeah, right now it's possible for you to grab, reminders for a certain location in the system. I mean, let me refresh the location. I think that's not quite available yet. But it's something we could do. Location is not available.
Okay, 'cause that's one thing I was going to ask you. If we have one pin of mares that's all pregnants, and we need a list of those, that way we can do a trim list to go through and make sure we get all the mares trimmed before we send them home.
I think that we do have that option, but I'm going to check on that. Double check if we have a request. Wish list. Location as an option for procedure manager selection. I'm 80% sure that we do have that request in our wish list. If it doesn't,
Okay.
it sounds very reasonable. I can do that for you.
That'd be great. That'd help a bunch as far as just procedures we have to deal with them, even vaccines and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I totally picture what you're saying. Yes, because most of the you could say, let's pretend for a minute that is here instead of professional is a location. You just select a particular location and you say undone for today, and you refresh the list, and you would see down here everything that you have for that location as a reminders. Am I going the right direction here?
Right. Yep. No, that'd be perfect.
Okay. Okay. I like that very much so. If it's not there, you can count as me putting in the list for you.
Oh, thank you.
What are the tasks that you usually perform in the procedure manager?
Different
thing that
things.
you could do, I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, that's fine.
Let's see here if I could, let me try 30 days ago. Didn't click the button 30 days ago. Grab the date, say undone, refresh the list. I have one thing. Let me put a little bit longer than that. Let's say 80 days ago. Grab the date, refresh the list. Okay, I have quite a few here. How about if you sort by location?
Oh, okay. I did not know you could do that.
But I still like the idea of, select one particular location. Maybe this one here would give you and I think you could possibly export this to Excel.
Okay.
And then massage the data a little bit according to your needs. But again, location would be there.
And even if we did it that way, can you select, 5 or 10 mares from that list and then do the tools and export to Excel? I've never seen that. What exactly can you do with that?
Well, if Excel, this for Excel, it's going to pretty much grab whatever you have in the result area.
Okay.
Put that in the Excel spreadsheet for you. Let's give it a try. I'm going to say, I will not pay attention to sort because I can later resort whatever I want. Do you want to include customer information down? Add comments. No, I don't care about that. Extra comments also no. Cost, not interested in that. I'm going to just say Excel spreadsheet number 1. Do want to view that, yes. So it should be coming here on the bottom. So there we go. Now I
Oh,
have
wow, okay.
those exactly there, but as you can see, it's not quite sorted like I showed you. But I could then come here, say sort. See if there's another sort criteria that I could do. Data, sort, and I want you to sort by location. Click OK, and sure enough.
Okay. That's going to help a lot.
Glad to hear that.
And so this is how I can make lists as well. If I start from this procedure manager and I can go to a certain owner, say that has 30 head of horses, and then I could go to the Excel spreadsheet and have a list of all of his mares and...
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect.
Although, depending on your need, sometimes we have another option. Let's say, for example, I have a customer, let's say today's Friday, and then the customer calls me and say, hey, I'm sending the guy to pick up the mares on Sunday because he's going to be passing by the range at that date, and just prepare the papers, let me know how much he is. I believe you're already using Really Made Easy with us and provide the credit card number. But here's how it goes. You select the customer, and you go to the account, and you use the unbilled procedures. Have you used this?
Yes, I have.
Okay. So for checking out horses in the future, date this comes handy because you can customize how you want to calculate this, and this is going to provide you a detailed report, even considering the board if you haven't checked out the horse yet.
Okay.
Now, for the other purposes, if you just want to check a particular customer and still the procedure manager, it's going to be the best option. Let me show you something that is in this version. Actually, the new thing in this version is that when you go to procedure, especially talking about database with tons of horses, this list here might take a while to download. I don't know if that's the case. Is that the case with you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it can take a while.
Yeah. So now, well, in the beginning when the database was still in the beginning for most users in Wise Option, drop-down list box is a very convenient thing to use. However, expensive in the processor for the server.
Okay.
Now what we have to do, go to Tools, and activate a quick search. So you just have to close and open it up again. Look what happens.
Oh, wow.
So now, type part of the, let's say a number, and it does a quick search, which makes the list way shorter, therefore faster. If you double click, that's the horse you're going to use.
Awesome.
If you want to change, double click. And let's say I have one horse here called Banana Dog. If I just type part of the name, hit enter, and my search fits only with one horse as a result, it grabs that horse and already prepared for you. I am hoping this is going to make the procedure data entry way faster when you're coming from the main screen and hitting this button. It is already fast when you're coming from the horse file or the summary card, but if you're coming from the procedures, then when it takes a while to load up the drop-down box. If you want to return to it as it was, just grab any horse. And then you deactivate the feature. Once you open it again, you have the drop down this back.
Okay.
Give it a try once you get the new version, and let me know if it was faster for you, please.
Will do. Will do.
We should be repeating this process. I'm very curious to know the impact and if life is better with this kind of new technique. If it is, I'm going to try to repeat throughout the system at those specific points it's taking a while to load up the horse list. Electronic billing, are you guys on it?
Yes.
Cool. E-billing made easy?
Yes.
Okay. So you're on top of things.
Well, they are. I'm trying to. I'm trying to get there.
Yeah, e-billing made easy has been a pretty good hand on busy days where credit cards are already in for shipping. And electronic billing is it's a nice friend when you don't have to fold all that bunch of paper on the billing day.
Perfect.
Any other tasks you're struggling with?
Trying to think of, not off the top of my head. I need to learn how to use the procedure manager a little bit better. I like that Excel spreadsheet and being able to sort through different categories that way. I have a question. If I'm going into a procedure and say that we get a new medication for a horse and it's not in the procedures already, how do you add a procedure? Or say that we want to add a new cost for a lameness exam or something like that. How do you add procedures?
Every time, well, it's a concept that I try to repeat throughout the program. But every time you have a drop-down list box, we try to have a shortcut that takes you to that list. So if you click here, and for example, I search for West Nile. I have my vaccination West Nile here, and if the cost went up, let's say that went up for $30, and now we are going to charge $45. I save. When I close that and I choose West Nile, the new price is considered here.
Okay.
This is one option. The other option, you are in a multiple horse data entry. Let's say that I sort here by neck band. By the way, one of the things that I like a lot is to highlight one item in the list and just use the space bar and the keyboard, arrow down, space bar, and I keep repeating that process, which helps me select horse very faster. But if I want to change the price from here on the go, I just find my vaccinations. And I go for my, in this case, West Nile is right here. I double click. And here we go again. I'm going to change this one to 55 just to show you the change happening. Did you learn about the color settings?
No.
I'm going to show you that. It's pretty cool. So now West Nile, let me double click again. It's 55. And as you saw, I have a bunch of horses. I'm going to say West Nile. But I'm going to show you something even, nicer than this. I'm going to say farm holder. So I don't have to reselect all the horses. And I'm going to put the West Nile for the 17, 18. I'm going to say here, just put numbers once here for us to see the difference. And I'm going to say save. One task for 10 horses. In this case, procedures, reminders. And the form
holder
maintains
maintains
my selection.
selection.
So I could now
So I could
set
now
up
set up
different days.
different days.
Of course, it doesn't
Of course,
make
it doesn't
sense
make
for
sense
West
for
Niles,
West
but I'm
Niles,
just showing you the functionality. Here I'm going to put
Here we're going to
choose.
choose
Different days,
different days,
same horses.
same horses.
So
So
another save
another
button.
save button.
Look how long it
Look
took
how
me
long
to
it
add
took
20
me to add
reminders.
20 reminders.
It was just
It was
nothing.
just nothing.
Now, I
Now,
want to see
I want
which
to see
horses
which
I have
horses I
reminders.
have
I go to my
reminders. I go to my
procedure,
procedure,
manager.
manager.
I'm going to
I'm
save
going to
from
save
today
today
to the end of
to
the
the end
month.
of the month.
Undone.
Undone.
Refresh.
Refresh.
To do right.
Right.
What am I doing wrong? I think I found
I
it.
think I found it rich.
Yeah, because of the
Because
new,
of the new,
this is the new
this is
version
the new
17.
version
I think it's
17. I
related
think it's
to that.
related to that too.
Let me see it again.
See it again.
Did I do that?
Did I do that?
Oh, here we are.
Here you go.
I set that as
I
done.
set that as done.
So the entry was
So the
made.
entry
It
was
me.
made. It
So
was
now,
me. So
here
now,
I'm going.
here
Here's what I'm going to
that's
do.
what I'm going to do.
I'm going to check them
I'm going
all.
to check them all.
So all the
So
check
all the
boxes
check
are marked.
boxes are marked.
I'm going to say
I'm going to say
that isn't
that
done.
isn't done.
So not only
So not
entered,
only
but
entered,
now I
but
updated
updated
all of them.
of them.
They now disappeared
disappeared
because it's saying
because
done.
it's saying
And when
done.
I say
And when I
undone,
say undone,
the 20 are
the
back.
20 are back.
Of course,
Okay.
an extra one
An extra
is a
one
check
is
there.
a check there.
It was nice.
It
Just
was nice.
pick
Just
up here
pick
so
up here
you and
so
I could
you
work
and I could
together.
work together.
The procedure manage a little bit more.
Perfect. I have a question.
Sure.
On the procedure page, you were able to click multiple mayors to add one task. How did you do that? Because usually we just do it mayor by mayor.
Oh,
How do you do the multiple horses?
just multiple horses over here.
Just multiple horses over here.
Okay.
You click on this button.
Click on this button.
It makes the form
Makes the
wide.
form
See,
wide.
little things that make my life easier that I don't know. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you could, for example, here select a bunch of horses. And you could not only select one task, but you could, let's say, if we are doing multiple things in one day, you know, say that I'm going to farrier. I don't have one specific for trans. I'm going to leave receipt trim. That's okay.
That's okay.
And I'm going to charge
And
also.
I'm gonna charge also,
Let's see here. I think we have treatments. Anyhow, I'm going to select
I'm going to
anything here
select
because the
anything
idea
here
what I'm
because
trying
the
to
idea
do
what
is
I'm
to
trying to
select
do is
three
to
different
select three
things
different
and a number of
things and a
horses.
number of horses.
I'm going to leave as
I'm
that.
gonna leave it as that.
I'm going to put this
I'm
one
gonna put
to
this
number
one to
3 just so we see
just so
the
we see
difference
the difference
for today.
for today.
And I'm going to set.
I'm gonna set.
Now, I did
Now, I
not
did
set up
not
the
set
form
up the
holder
holder
once the
once
three
the
tasks
three
for
tasks
10
for
horses,
10 horses,
30
30
procedures,
procedures,
one enter
one
button,
enter button.
the form is going
The
to
form is
complete the
going to
30
complete the
entries
30 entries
and close the
and
form.
close the form.
Okay.
So 30
So
procedures,
30
added,
added,
and it's gone.
and it's
If
gone.
I go to the
If I go to
procedure
the
manager, set as done
set as
for
done
today,
for today,
all the number
all the
threes,
number threes,
30 procedures.
30 procedures will be there.
Awesome.
One click, so you don't
Click,
have
so
to
you
do
don't
one
have to
horse
do
at a
one
time.
horse at a time.
However, we
However,
do have
we do
the
have the
horse
form.
form holder. That's what I was trying to
That's what I
say.
was trying to say.
For one horse
For
at a time.
one horse at a time.
Which is nice, for
Which is
example,
nice,
when
for
you have
example, when you
multiple
have
things to
multiple things
do
to
to the same
To the
horse.
same horse.
Right. Right. And I have used that. I'm familiar with the form holder.
Now, alternatively, you could just select multiple things here as well in one
For
horse,
one horse.
which is the
Which
same.
is the same.
Okay.
It's just a matter of
Matter
preference.
of preference.
And then you said something about the color coding or the different colors.
Oh, thank you for that.
Thank you for that.
Well, it's hard when you go to the system now. For example, you grab a horse that has tons of procedures, and it was in the past hard to find the specific things. Now you cannot, create properties and attributes and give colors. So you can see, for example, in this case here, I put Coggins as green.
Okay.
West Nile, I set up as red. Airport as black. Let me grab IgG, and I'm going to set up now the different color for each and see the difference. You go for tasks, file, search. Smell. What is that? Update. So let's say that the background I want light blue and for color black. That's fine. Save this. Now when I get back to the horse file, go for that same horse. I say all dates. There you go. See the difference.
Very cool.
It's nice because you can, breeding fees, receipt fees, pregnancy fees. You can scan with your eyes very easily the charges.
Right. Yeah, I like that. Okay. That's good.
This is in version 4.3.15. So if you go to the latest 4.3.17, of course, you're going to get this one as well. Still have a few minutes left.
I don't know if I really have any other specific questions.
Have you learned about, do you make a lot of entries in a flush log when you receive an embryo from a different location, stuff like that?
I actually have not done that, no.
Okay. Because now we have the quick data entry for flushes. You just go, because in the past you would have to put a breeding record, then after the breeding record you confirm the ovulation, asks if you want to do a flush and so forth. Now you just go to tools and you do a flush log quick data entry. And in one form, it makes the entry, for everything. Same happens for embryo transfers. You go to tools, let's say that you receive a receiving that is in full. ET quick data entry. Just fill out this form, and you can even set it up as not checked or in full. As you hit the save button, it's going to do the breeding log, OV confirmation, flush log, and then put the mare for you in your ET log.
Okay.
Trying to think about other things that we can. How about the flags?
Have not used those.
Do you know the concept behind?
Do not know. Nope.
This is just custom checkbox. Use the name, whatever you want. And you can search based on that, and you can cross-reference among themselves. So let's explain a little bit and clarify. If you want to give a specific name, like for example, rebreed, our own mare, show horse, whatever, breeding contract, received contract, donor mare, all duties paid, whatever you want to put, you create the flags. So the flags, once you do that, tools, options, and right there is where you put the names.
Okay.
Now, once you have your own flags, they will be handy for you to feed the list of horses based on your flags. So you go for search and horse management and search based on flags. And here you're going to cross-reference. So you could say, I want to see all my brood mares with contracts paid, for example. You give the names. But basically you have three options. It's going to consider checked only, unchecked only, or simply ignore this and not available, not applicable. As you hit submit, it's going to grab you the list of horses with your flags. Inventory management is the key to the right? Especially with so many deals and special cases on the billing.
Right. No, I like those flags. That's perfect for search and, I liked your flag of our own mares or like company-owned mares or anything like that. I like that. And then what all is under the link for the task report? What is that exactly? I haven't done much with that.
The task report, I have seen very few users using it, but those who do love it. You would have to have a recurring task. A task report is more for things that happen often in the horse life, regardless whatever the state of the horse life is. Deworm, Coggins, West Nile. So you could set up one task because you have to set up a task first. For example, Coggins here. Let's take a look at how to set it up. You go to task file, search for Coggins. Oops. Again. If I can type. Okay.
You're typing like me now.
So here you go. I can, here in the advanced mode, say this task repeats every year and only for horses 6 months or older. So this instruction down here is for your task report. Now when I go to the task report, it will show me only tasks that I have set for advanced mode. And I have to, set up a target date, which by default is today. As I click on the task, it's going to cross a bunch of data here and reference here. It's going to, basically what's going to do, it's just going to, check the database of horses and check in each horse all the procedures that cross information with this one. And then it will check if that one has, when it has been performed last time, if the horse is due, in other words, if the last time it was performed, in this case, has been over 6 months, then that horse shows up in your task report telling you this is the list of horses due for that particular task. As soon as you perform the procedure or you enter a procedure in the system, for example, Hot Sudden here, it's in my list for Coggins. Because let's say that I forgot to enter and I did his yesterday. I'm going to set this up for yesterday as done. So now when I get to my task report and I run Coggins, he's not there anymore. And he's going to show up again if they're based on the target date. Let me ask this date here to be 6 months ahead. Actually, a few days more, longer than that, just to be on the safe spot. I'm going to select the task. Maybe I haven't gone that far. He's not here. Let me get back to his file if I see. And he was entered yesterday, Coggins. Oh, I said every year. I'm sorry about that. Horse is older than 6 months, but the task is every year. So instead of 6, I'm going to say August 2014. I'm going to select the end of August 2014, which is 1 year. And I select Coggins. And sure enough, he is there. And it shows me the last time it was performed. So basically, the task report does that.
Okay, awesome.
Pretty handy.
I just never done much with it, so.
Yeah, it's handy when you have one task for failure. This is the most common one I have seen users, utilizing this feature with.
Okay.
Because every 6 weeks you have to, see which horse needs something.
Perfect.
All right.
Well, thank you so much for your help today. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. I have somebody else with us here, but Lisa's been very quiet and shy. No questions, it seems, so far. Well, let's see how it goes. If you guys need something else, let me know, and we could maybe schedule another one in the future. But thank you for coming.
Thank you so much, Eduardo.
You guys have a great day.
Eduardo.
Lisa, go ahead.
I have a question about how the shoot fee option works inside the horse file. I
Which
haven't
one?
been able to figure it out.
Say that again, please. It cut you a little bit.
In the horse file, there's an option to select shoot fee. And from what I understood, when you mark shoot fee in the horse in a horse's horse file, then I thought that would not charge them for ultrasounds. But I
Correct.
haven't been able to figure out.
Let me see here. The shoot fee. This is a male. Of course, I will not have the shoot fee. And let me grab one of my mirrors here. Let's say, let me put this banana dock here. I'm going to grab the update, and she is set up for a shoot fee. Okay, she is under shoot fee. Let's see how it goes. I'm going to schedule her for a palpation. Before I go there, let me see the palpation, which is in this sample. I think it's called Just Check Mirror. If I go to the check mirror and I see I have a $30 fee for a palpation in this sample database. And I'm going to grab my mirror, the banana dock, double checking once more. Is this the one? Yes, shoot fee. And in the main record, I'm going to say that I want to schedule her for today. I'm going to reschedule. I'm going to say shoot fee test. Okay. So here's what happens. When I go to that, let me go to the summary card, which is a kind of a central control panel for this. And I look into that procedure undone because the scheduling is a reminder. I see that there is still a value. Actually, the shoot fee magic happens as we palpate the mare through the daily worksheet. So if you go to the mare management, because usually you're going to have a bunch of mares scheduled for palpation on a particular day, the magic on the shoot fee actually happens when you have your bunch of mares sitting here in the daily worksheet and you double click for palpation. You put there your information, whatever it is. And if I go for procedures here in undone, still sitting there still as $30. And I'm going to save this. It's because she is in full, and it's asking if I want to charge as a pregnant check. Instead, I'm going to say no. When I reschedule her, no, because this is just a test. Now I'm going to go to her procedures again. And now, instead of $30, you see the 0.
Oh, okay.
So the magic happens as you palpate the mare through the daily worksheet.
Okay. Well, that answers that. That'll be helpful. Because what I was thinking, we don't really have a shoot fee. We charge per palpation. But we have some mares, like our own mares and stuff, for instance, that we don't want to charge palpations ever.
Here's the reason why.
So I was thinking it could be helpful for them.
Here's the reason why we do the magic on the daily worksheet. Because there are certain procedures that are considered shoot fee. Because sometimes the mare, it seems if I remember well, it seems that the mare could be in and out the shoot fee status as she goes throughout the season. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So when we throw the reminders up front, we put the tag price there. But as we set as performed,
Then it
it's
goes
going
to
to
0.
consider the shoot fee and change the price for you so you don't forget and the customer gets mad at you because there was a charge for a palpation in it.
Okay. And this is a little bit off the subject, but I wanted to know if there was a possibility, or if it might be an option already, and I just don't know how to do it. But we sometimes print, do a procedure, and we set it as 0, and we still want it to appear on someone's bill. Is there any way to make it appear on their bill? I don't want all of our 0 procedures to get billed. But is there any way to make so that I don't forget to print? I know that I can delete the invoice and then rebill it, and put the 0 procedure on there, which is what I usually do. But I just wanted to know if there was a way to set a specific procedure that we do and make it 0 just so it shows up on their bill.
Right now it's either or. You can either say all the procedures 0 not showing, or all the procedures with 0 showing. Once you choose that, you should stick with that, by the way. You should stay with that from that point on. But the only way you have to show a 0 procedure in the invoice is when maybe you could go for certain horses before you run the massive billing. And I say before because then you would not have to cancel the invoice.
Right, then you could just bill it one time. And I occasionally do that also when I, remember. Sometimes, though, Dar will do something and he'll make the procedure 0 and he'll tell me, but I want it to still show up on their bill. And then I'm like, well, crap, now I have to remember that when I do the billing to make sure that I put it on their bill.
I feel your pain.
I was just we had it years and years ago.
Oh, but guess what? You could use those flags I was talking about a little bit earlier.
That's true.
You could have a flag that says $0 horses.
And then make sure that
And then you do your search, and then you have there in the horse. So we could do that. Let's play a little bit.
Okay.
I'm going to do here, I'm going to say task, and not task, tools and options under the administrator. I'm going to call my number 10 here $0. We know what it is.
Okay.
And then I'm going to say that 7023 is a $0. And I'm going to say that 7210, it's a $0. And one more just to be fun. So it's not so empty. 7114. Update. It's a $0 horse. Okay. So now I go for my search and I say search based on flag and show me the $0 ones only. The other ones I'm just ignoring. The other options. And I just go for this one and I submit and I have my 3 horses. So I can grab the first one, do the billing, grab the second, so forth.
That's helpful. That would work.
Cool. It's
Thank
all
you.
about helping you with those exceptions,
Okay.
you know, because I know there's lots of exceptions. Hopefully 10 flags will help you with exceptions.
I also we have like 3 different farriers, and I was trying to think of a way that I could put, make them all one procedure, but
Okay, here's how I have seen this.
okay.
I have seen both ways. It's actually a matter of preference, so I'm just going to say I am going to create here right now one task. And I'm going to say general farrier. How do I spell this? F-E-R-R, like this. Did I do it right?
I think it's F-A-R-R-I-E-R.
Help. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to say that. It just I could say anybody here. Max is the one. I'm going to leave 0 for the sake of, and I'm going to say this because I want to use the task manager I was talking about earlier. And I'm going to say every 6 weeks for any horse that is more than 1 year. So I know that foals rarely need trim, so let's go with that.
Right.
You have set category for the task. It's used if a task sampler the report. Would you like to review that? Oh, well, yes. So I didn't do this. And this is going to be, I think I have one farrier, yes. Checking my bad spell here. So that's correct. So now I have the farrier. As I just put a general farrier, it could be just farrier or whatever name, but something generic. That's my point. And when you are billing the farrier, because regardless what type of farrier work done, you're just going to see that horse 6 weeks later, right?
Correct.
So I could go in my horse file and use my multiple horses. And here it's pretty handy when I work in batches. Okay? And by that I mean I'm going to choose here my general farrier, which could have been just farrier. And let's say that I'm going to mark first the horses that I did only trim. And I'm going to say in my comments, trim only. And in the general farrier, I'm going to use the double click, put here $75 and save. So now when I do this, these horses are going to receive a $75 charge with this comment. Let's do that. Yes. So now I'm going to do it again. I could even have used the form holder, but that's okay. I'm going to use again the general farrier. another set of horses. Just, just making sure that's not the first set that I got.
Correct.
And I'm going to say full shoes. I double click and I make this one here 150. All right. So I save this.
At that point, could we change the professional?
Yes.
Like
You
where
could-
you change the cost of it,
yes.
could we change who is doing the trim?
Absolutely. Once you double click there in the general farrier here, you could change the price, but also the guy and who is here.
Perfect.
And then once you hit save, it's going to consider the default price and default professional for that one. So now when I go to my procedure manager and I refresh this and I sort the list by task, you're going to see all my full trims because the comment shows in the invoice. The trims only and full shoes. Can you see the difference?
Yep.
However, they are all under general farrier, meaning
Right.
that I still can use my task report.
Okay.
So when I look, and now the general farrier is here because I set it up as I set that as a advanced mode under tasks. And today, you're going to see that my 70s are not in the list. Can you see that?
Yep.
Now, when I throw this 6 weeks down, 1, 2,
So even when
3,
you schedule
4,
them,
5,
it
6,
still makes them.
7. And I'm do 7, and I'm going to select again. So my 70s are now there. And it tells me, look, she was last done on 8/14. She's due on 9/25, and it last time was trim only.
Perfect.
You can print this out, give to the farrier guy, and off you go.
Awesome. Well, that helps a lot.
I like that.
Perfect. I learned something.
Glad that you came.
That's way easier.
So it's a matter, in Wise Option, we provide tools. And those tools, sometimes we have to exercise a little bit our creativity. And of course, that's why I'm here in the webinar, to provide the guidance so you can get savvy in using the tools to achieve your goal.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. So like I said, maybe we're going to do another one next week with more ideas, and let's see how it goes.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're very welcome, Lisa. Thank you for coming. I'm wrapping up today. Thank you for watching this webinar. I'm going to post in our Facebook page. And like I said, we might have another one next week. Thanks for coming.
Great. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.